And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable, and we're going to go over some results that we've had over the last day here in the spring sports and high school baseball and softball, and what a storm that came through a few days ago, really wiping out a day or two of spring sports this past week, and should be a final week coming into the next week, so we'll be wrapping up the season here before long, and the school season will be over here for 2012 and 2013. And we want to remind you that we're going to close out our Roundtable season in late May. Not exactly sure which week, but we typically go into late May and wrap it up for the year. Take the summer off, June, July, and most of August. Come back probably the last Saturday of August with fall sports previews such as football, volleyball, and softball, and we'll be gearing up for another season starting next August. So when pretty much the school season when the schools let out, we pretty much let out as well, because that's mainly what we cover is the high school athletics in our area. So we'll be taking the summer off here in about a month or so and get ready for 2013 and 2014. But we still got some shows we want to get to for this season. We're going to try to get some athletes in here for the next few weeks. We tried to get some lined up for today, but weren't successful in doing so. A lot of things going on, as you can imagine, as kids wrap up their school year, and a lot of these seniors got a lot to do on the weekends leading up to graduation here before long. So we're going to do our best to get some athletes in for the next few weeks to wrap up our roundtable, as well as Officials Day. We try to do that in one of the two last shows of our season. Bring in a few officials for various sports and talking about just the in and outs of officiating in our area, and a lot of stories to tell as well over the years. So we'll be looking forward to that in the next month for the roundtable as well. Officials Day here on YHC Sports Roundtable. And we're also going to take a look today of the press conference with Otto Porter out of Georgetown. He is committed to the NBA draft coming up later this summer, and he'll forego his final 2 years of eligibility at Georgetown to enter the NBA draft. More likely to be a lottery pick in this year's draft, and we'll show that some of that press conference later on in the program. And also we're going to take a look at Southeast Missouri State baseball up in Cape Girardeau. They got a weekend series with Eastern Kentucky. We're going to take a look at that video as well. And we'll touch on the baseball state rankings here momentarily as well. So let's move on to some high school baseball and softball results from yesterday and take a look at some results. And I think these were down in the Dyersburg, Tennessee round robin tournament yesterday. And as Gosnell, Arkansas defeating Kennett 3-2 on Friday. Also Dyersburg, Tennessee beating Kennett 5-2. And also we have Jeff City Helias over Oran 5-0. Mary Institute of Country Day Schools, MICDS, defeated Dexter 13-1. Clearwater over Jefferson in a close one, 4-3. And in high school softball yesterday, Kennett over South Pemiscot, and a big win, 18-2. And those are the results from yesterday. And as we mentioned earlier in the week, that storm that come through pretty much wiped out the games for midweek. So only games from yesterday to report on here in the area. And now we want to touch on the updated state rankings for high school baseball for the state of Missouri. And this is from the Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association. And in Class 1, Santa Fe at number 1. 2, Oran moves up to number 2 in this poll. 3, Sturgeon. 4, Cairo. 5, Leopold. 6, Pilot Grove. 7, New Franklin. 8, Woblu. 9, Marks Creek. And 10, Cooter. And 3 teams from Southeast Missouri in that Class 1 poll. They're with Oran, Leopold, and Cooter. And in Class 2, Valley Catholic at number 1, as they've been all year long. 2, Neelyville. 3, Thayer. 4, Louisiana. 5, Kabul. 6, Dora. 7, Chaffee. 8, Miller. 9, Russellville. And 10, Vienna. So we got a few schools there from Southeast Missouri. Actually, you could probably say those top 3 teams are SEMO teams, the Valley Catholic, Neelyville, and Thayer. And also in there is Chaffee on down the way at number 7. In Class 3, Forsyth at number 1. And number 2, Holden. And Malden moves up to number 3. I think they were number 9 previously in this poll. They move all the way up to number 3. 4, Jefferson Festus. 5, Fatima. 6, Conway. 7, Lutheran St. Charles. 8, Clearwater. 9, Christian O'Fallon. And 10, Clever. In Class 4, number 1, Westminster Christian, as they've been all year. 2, Cape Notre Dame, as they've been all year. 3, St. Genevieve. 4, St. Francis Borgia. 5, Sullivan. 6, Logan Rogersville. 7, Lutheran South. 8, Warrensburg. 9, Pembroke Hill. And 10, Mount Vernon. So Cape Notre Dame still there in the top 5 of that poll in Class 4. And those are your rankings. Only 4 classes in the state of Missouri in high school baseball. And we'll be starting district tournaments soon for Southeast Missouri. So we'll definitely be carrying those tournaments here in the next few weeks. And we're going to take a break and be back with more coming up.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, ensuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
Let's talk about next year. This is the time of year to reflect on last season's crop and make decisions for next season. What mix of crops should you plant? Should you buy new equipment this year or get by another year with what you have? We'd like to help you make the financial side of your planning a little easier. Our ag department knows agriculture, and they're local.
Stop by and see us
at First Midwest Bank.
At Glenn St. Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glenn St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year, and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you, no one appreciates your business like we do. Glenn St. and Kennett, and God bless our troops.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
And Otto Porter, Scott County Central native and current forward for the Georgetown Hoyas, announced earlier this week that he will forego his final 2 years of eligibility in college basketball and enter the NBA draft later on this summer. And what an accomplishment by Otto Porter, having a great season this past year for the Hoyas, the Big East Player of the Year, and pretty much you can put him in the top handful of players in the country in college basketball, and he'll move on to the NBA draft, likely to be a lottery pick in this year's draft this summer. And he had a press conference earlier in the week, so let's take a look at that conference.
I would like to say that I am foregoing my eligibility in college and entering the 2013 NBA draft.
Questions?
I mean, it was a hard decision.
You can't do it, just talk.
I mean, it was a tough decision. You know, I love Georgetown. I love my coaches, you know, my teammates. And I think that, you know, I have to come back and, you know, finish my degree out. definitely. So I think it was a hard decision that me and my family had to make.
Was this a decision that just came about since the season ended, or was it something you've been thinking about strongly during the season?
Like I said before, I mean, the whole season I just been trying to focus on the season, and I just wanted to focus on that at that time. And after the season was over with, that's when I started thinking about my decision making with my parents and my coaches.
Was there a moment, Otto, when you realized that you were going to have to make that decision?
I mean, I knew it was coming down to it. My coaches and my teammates got me prepared, on and off the court. As a human being, I'm prepared to take on the world. And if I was to come back to school, I think I would have been prepared, to finish out my degree.
Otto, after the last Florida Gulf Coast, I spoke to you in the locker room, and you said you just didn't even want to think about the NBA draft at that point. How long did it take before you could put Philadelphia behind you and really start focusing on your choices?
It took a long time. I didn't want to rush anything. I wanted to make sure this was the right decision for me and my family.
And Coach, can you talk about what do you think makes Otto a good fit for the NBA? I know a lot are projecting him as a lottery pick.
Well, I think he's ready, and I mean as much mentally, emotionally as I do as it relates to basketball. I thought he went about the process in an educated manner and didn't make a rush decision one way or another. He had two good choices. You can come back to school, which is a very good choice, or he could head to the NBA, which is also a very good choice. So, in our many conversations, made it clear to him you don't have a bad choice here. He has said, as he said a few seconds ago, much like Jeff Green did, much like Greg is doing, he plans on coming back and getting his degree. And so it's a process. And so he's prepared. He's prepared for it.
And we saw there a little clip from the press conference earlier this week at Georgetown. Otto Porter announcing his declaration for the NBA draft later on this summer. And as I mentioned before, very likely to be a lottery pick. And I would say he's probably going to go in the top 5. Wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the top 2 or 3 picks in this year's draft. Very skilled player. He can pretty much do it all. He can put it on the floor. He can pull up for a jumper. He's now developing that post game at the college level, so he's got a very big upside to take to the NBA, and he'll have a long career, a very successful career in the NBA with his skill set. His skill set is perfect for the pros. They play a lot more wide open, and using your athletic ability certainly proves to be better at the NBA level than it does the college level, so that'll really suit him in the pros for the remainder of his career. And we could be talking about Otto Porter being one of the best players, if not the best player, to come out maybe of the state of Missouri, and especially Southeast Missouri. And we can look back to, of course, Tyler Hansbrough is currently in the NBA, and now Ben Hansbrough making his way into the NBA here just recently. That's the thing. What's so impressive about it, we talk about the history of Southeast Missouri basketball, and we can go all the way back to covering the Fraziers, Ricky Frazier, Lamont Frazier back in the 70s, and going all the way back in that time, and just the success that players have had just here in the past decade. We've got 3 players going to be in the NBA just from Southeast Missouri here next year. So it's remarkable how Southeast Missouri players have excelled and getting into the NBA. It's really fun to watch, and it's going to be crazy if you watch a game next year and whatever team that Otto Porter plays on, he's likely to be a starter, and you could see 3 players from Southeast Missouri on the court at once in an NBA game next year, depending on where Otto Porter lands. If the Pacers have Ben and Tyler Hansbrough on the court at the same time and Otto Porter on the other team, it's going to be something to see. 3 players from Southeast Missouri on the NBA court at once. It'll be fun to watch. So we'll be looking forward to see how Otto Porter goes in the draft later on this summer. And it'll be fun to watch, see where he goes, and seeing him on the NBA courts next season. And now let's take a look at Southeast Missouri State Baseball. They've got a weekend series with Eastern Illinois, and the Sports Information Department put a video together for that weekend series, so let's take a look.
Southeast.com, joined now by head baseball coach Steve Beazer. Coach, great win for your program last week. Talk a little bit about how big of a series win that was against Austin Peay. First time you guys have done that since 2010.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge series for us, Nick. The fact that Austin Peay, a program that's been very successful over the last couple of years, getting to regionals, winning our conference, we knew that we had our work cut out for us when we entered the series. But the biggest thing is I think our guys kept the confidence and believed in themselves and believed in our program that we were going to come out and win that series. And anytime you can go into a series with some confidence, like these guys show on the weekend, I think you're going to be all right.
Now, talk a little bit about the great crowd that you had on Saturday. I mean, just tremendous, 1,400 people. And you can really tell your team fed off that energy, especially in the 9th inning, after you guys made that big comeback in the 8th inning. And when Bobby Hurst came out, I mean, it was electric in there. Talk a little bit about the big crowd on Saturday.
That's like our 10th man for us. It was huge that we were able to feed off of that. Anytime you start a game, the guys have the adrenaline going early in the early part of the game, and they're excited. But a baseball game takes a long time to play, and the more that support you can get, the more people that are there out at the game, rooting and cheering for you. And when we get into big situations, you hear the crowd that much more. And you could just see, I mean, it was one of those cases where you could see how Bobby Hurst fed off the crowd, and that was great for our program. That's great for our guys to get an opportunity to play in front of a crowd like that.
Now, talk a little bit about how you guys have kind of come back the last 2 weekends at SIUE. You lost the first game, and then also against Austin Peay, lost the first game against two of probably arguably the best pitchers in the Ohio Valley Conference. And you guys come back, and you take the next two, and then you come back on Sunday at SIUE with a couple big home runs with Matt Teller, and then on Saturday against Austin Peay, just a great team effort all around to come back and win. Talk a little bit about kind of the comebacks in the last 2 weekends.
That says a lot about this group. That's what they do. They don't ever believe they're out of the game. They stay locked in for 9 innings, and they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. And when you can do that, you're going to have some successes like that and be able to come back late in games. And that's what this group's going to be capable of doing. It's not going to happen all the time. Part of the deal is you don't want to get behind and have to play from behind all the time. But it just says a lot about the character of this team, a lot about the grit, how they have that never give in attitude, and they're going to continue to work. And that's why we were able, after a tough opening night in both of those series, we were able to come back and win 2 games in both of those series. So that's really very important for our program to continue to win conference series.
Now, this weekend you head to Charleston, Illinois to take on Eastern Illinois. Their record might deceive you a little bit. They're a pretty good ball club.
They're a very good ball club, and we talked to our team about that yesterday. If you put it on paper, very similar, us and Eastern Illinois. And the thing that really concerns me is they're very tough to play at home. They're 6-2 at home this year. They haven't played many games at home, and there's a reason why they win at home. They've got a home field advantage there, whether it's their fans supporting them or it's the field. I mean, the field does play a little different with tall grass, and the infield plays a little slower than most places. But they know how to play their park, and that's going to be an adjustment that we have to make very quick so that we can compete with them.
All right, well, best of luck this weekend. Thanks for your time. Now by assistant coach and hitting coach Dylan Lawson. And coach, you're averaging about 10 hits over the last 3 weeks. You had about 142 in the past couple weeks. Talk about kind of your guys' approach at the plate. You guys are pretty hot to play.
Well, the great thing is our guys, we understand what we're good at and what we're not good at. We have a deep understanding of our strengths and weaknesses, and that leads to a very developed and detailed plan when we go up to the plate. And having a plan, an approach that you know exactly what you're looking for, what you're not looking for before you get into that box is a huge, it's very important for us, okay? And that's leading to a lot of our success.
Now talk a little bit about your success, kind of hitting doubles. You lead the OVC rank in the top 40 in the nation. Really just hitting a lot of doubles, and Jason Bloom is kind of leading that way on the leadoff spot, and you kind of got to like that.
Oh, you got to love it. And a lot of that goes back to the fact that we know what we're looking for when we get back into the box. We have that approach, we're patient, and we're waiting for our pitch. The best part about that is we expect to get our pitch at some point during that at-bat, and we're very aggressive to that. That's what leads to those balls that are driven into the gaps. And plus, we've got good team speed, so one of our biggest identities is that we're going to be busting it immediately out of the box, sprinting onto the field, running hard 90s, things like that. If we're running hard right out of the box, we can leg out some of those doubles.
I'll talk a little bit about the team speed. You also lead the Ohio Valley Conference in stolen bases. Had a great week at SIUE.
Yeah.
Stole 10 in one game. Talk a little bit about your guys' kind of philosophy on the base path and how that's worked out for you guys.
It goes back to just being aggressive. We want guys, the other teams, to have to stop us more so than ourselves being tentative. As long as we're putting ourselves in a position to be successful, that the odds are in our favor, then we're going to go ahead and push the envelope.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you again.
Okay.
Hey, you saw there, just giving you an update from Southeast Missouri State Baseball as they continue their season this spring, and we'll wish them the best of luck going forward. And also, we've got some news to report on from this past week about signings to play at the next level in high school athletics. Dexter's Brittany Harris signed with Southeast Missouri State earlier this week to play college basketball for Southeast Missouri State, and she'll go ahead and play in Cape Girardeau starting next season, and got a nice scholarship to play at SEMO and playing out of the Ohio Valley Conference in Division I women's basketball. So congratulations to Brittany. She is the all-time leading scorer for the Dexter Lady Bearcats, and she'll move on to play at the next level. And also, Miranda Fowler of Notre Dame will move on to play volleyball at Murray State starting next year. And she's a great two-sport athlete, especially in volleyball and basketball, and chooses to play volleyball at the next level. Wish her the best of luck going forward. And also, James Vance of Holcomb, he signed to play college basketball at Crowley's Ridge College in Paragould, Arkansas, and he'll move on to Paragould to play at Crowley's Ridge starting next year. And also this next week, Jamie Massey will sign to play at Three Rivers College starting next year. So he'll move on to play college basketball at the junior college level. And congratulations to Jamie and James from Holcomb. Had a very talented Holcomb basketball team this year. It's good to see some of those kids moving on and playing at the next level. And we're going to try to get those guys in for the next few roundtables and talk to them about their great season this past year, and also moving on and playing at the next level in college basketball. And let's take a look at one more video, and this one's very interesting. This past week, it was announced that Southeast Missouri State and Southern Illinois will play college football game at Busch Stadium. That's right, college football game being played at Busch Stadium later on this fall, and we've got the press conference from Busch Stadium earlier this week, so let's take a look.
We're here to announce that on Saturday, September 21st, Southeast Missouri State University and Southern Illinois University will play the very first football game here in Busch Stadium. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. We're excited to have these two great schools with very strong St. Louis connections play in this inaugural football game. It's a long rivalry. They've had 81 games between them. And I understand between both schools there are close to 40,000 alumni in St. Louis.
We're very pleased to be able to come here and to be the first football game here in Busch Stadium. As you probably know, and I think Bill mentioned, we have 25,000 alums in Southeast, and I know that we have some alums. So all the alums of Southeast, raise their hand, please. It's nice to have you there. Thank you so much. John Hetzel said that he still has a year of eligibility, but I think that 5-year rule kind of, we have a problem with that.
On behalf of Southeast Missouri State University, we're very proud to be up here, being able to announce this game. We're excited. We had a alumni event this past Thursday where, when you mention that word and you look at the eyes, of our folks, the excitement of our folks, our alums, our student athletes, potentially prospective students, not just student athletes of the university. There's a lot of excitement. And to be able to play a football game in a great venue, I didn't say a great baseball venue, I said a great venue here in the United States is something that we're so excited about, and very excited to be the first football game. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming here and thank the Cardinals.
When you got two universities just 45 miles apart, you know, there should be a rivalry that exists between the schools. So from a coach's perspective, it's exciting. It's something that our guys are going to look forward to, and we have a tremendous amount of respect for Southeast Missouri and Coach Samuel with what he's done with that program, and you know, we love the opportunity to play him because we know they're a top-notch program, coached very well, and they play the game the way that it should be played. So thank you for this opportunity.
The big thing is we've got 24 football players right now that's on our roster from the greater St. Louis area. And same thing, Coach. When I told them that we're going to have an opportunity to play in the stadium, they were excited. The good thing is I did have some players promise me, don't worry, Coach, the place is going to be full. We're going to have people there. So, you know, that was one of my concerns when Mark came to me, very excited. This was Mark's baby from day one, and he was very excited with the idea of coming up here and getting an opportunity to play. And our players share the same excitement because when we play this game, it's usually sold out at our place. And so to come up here, we're counting on the same thing, with the same support, with the same energy and the same attitude, because it is a great rivalry game.
Just look at one another if you don't mind. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Sure. We're good? You guys good? Spence, you saved me one, right?
Historic event in this beautiful stadium, and it'll be a great experience for our student athletes, as Ken said, but also for our Saluki fans, our students, our faculty, our staff, and our great alum base on both sides of the river. So we have many alumni in the St. Louis area, and I know that they're going to get very excited about having the opportunity to be at this game. And so Ken, we
look at, you know, there's a rental, there's a game day cost, you know, your ushers, your ticket takers, you know, obviously it costs to transform the field from baseball to football, and then back to baseball, and then you know, obviously with the, this is the park.
What's Mario doing today?
He is
trash.
Yeah, he would.
As long as they let you shoot.
And a nice look there from Busch Stadium. Football will come to the Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and it's great to see that Southeast Missouri is going to be a part of that, taking on SIU, a big rivalry in what was previously known as Division I AA, now considered, well, the football championship subdivision. And those teams will match up later on this year in September for college football in Busch Stadium. So we'll be definitely looking forward to that date and seeing how that plays out there in Busch Stadium. So we'll be looking forward to that. And that's all we've got for you today, and we appreciate you for tuning in as always, and we'll see you for next week's Roundtable, and we're going to try to get some athletes in here next week, talk about the seasons that's passed and looking ahead to next year. So look forward to that later on in the next few weeks, and we'll look forward to having you back for another Roundtable, and until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have a good one.